So there I was, laying on the exam room table in one of those super sexy and seductive paper gowns, and my legs are open in a, V, spread eagle. Heels are in the stirrups, and I hear the doctor say, "You have stage 4 endometriosis." Then I heard him say, "You will need to have surgery to correct this." Then I heard him say, "This level of advanced endometriosis could lead to cancer." And then I heard him say, "This level of endometriosis could cause you to have complications having children. This could be the problem why you're not getting pregnant, and you may need to seek out alternative methods." In that moment of sheer stress and information overload, information paralysis basically, of receiving this information, your body goes into this crazy place where I started sweating and I started getting cold all at the same time. My legs in the stirrups with my very seductive, lovely paper dress began to shake. My hands started to shake, and I remember distinctively feeling a tear just run down this side of my face and land in my ear. And as I put my hand to my ear to get the water out, I remember the doctor saying, "I'm going to excuse myself for a minute and let you get yourself together." As we had further conversations, I sat up, I got myself dressed, and what happened next was I walked from the doctor's office to my car. And if you've ever been in a state of shock, it kind of makes you hear a really high-pitched noise. And I was still sweating, kind of hot, kind of cold. My hands are shaking, my legs are shaking. I wasn't crying, but I was processing, or at least I thought. And I got into my car, shaking, my hand even trying to hit the button to unlock the door, unable to hit it precisely on the button. And when I closed the door, all I remember is falling apart. And that's the day I lost my shit. From that day forward, the next 4 years would have been lost. I had to spend time crawling out of this hole, but what it taught me was so invaluable. And I want to share very important 3 helpful tips with you today. If you're going through something difficult, if you're going through something that has plunged you into a shock, that hopefully you will find and be able to help you from losing 4 years like I did when I lost my shit. For those who don't know me, my name is Shannon Woon. I am a lifestyle coach. I help women struggling with symptoms related to infertility who feel like aliens in their own bodies and are looking for a way to cope with the what now. So, first of all, it is possible to come back from a life-altering situation. It is completely possible to come back and get your shit back after you lose it. After you just basically put it down on the curb, walk away from it, it is basically completely possible to go back, pick it back up, and start all over again. So for me, going through that situation, that day where my doctor told me I would basically probably not be able to carry children on my own naturally, and I had this situation that was growing inside my body and will continue to grow, because that's what endometriosis is. It's something that my body creates, and it's something that my body cannot heal. And anybody that has any symptoms related to infertility, you're in the same situation. Depending upon your issue, there is a moment that happens where you almost come outside of yourself and lose yourself. At least I did. You're not alone. And so again, today I want to talk about 3 tips I learned for processing shock if you lose your shit. So I don't want you to believe that I'm making light of this situation in wearing my ironic easy shirt. Nothing about this is going to be easy, but I refuse. Like, my hands and my arms and everything, I'm sweating, I'm shaking right now, because I refuse, with the information that I have over the last 4 years of sitting basically in a deep dark hole and wallowing in the stress and the shock and the self-hatred and the self-loathing and the pain and the embarrassment of it all, if I can help one person, whether it's male or female, because infertility issues do not just affect women. It's a misnomer if that's what you think it is. They affect everybody. And if you are somebody who doesn't want to have kids, whatever the reason is that you feel like you're lost inside yourself, if I can help one person realize that you're not alone and it is possible to come out of this shit and have a giggle again. It is. I'm not trying to minimize it. I just want you to know how truly I believe this. So the 3 tips. First is, your life does not end. It is not over when you have a hard time. It is not. I know it. I know. I spent 4 years sitting in a place where I was like, that's it. It's over. I'm done. Who am I if I'm not a mom? I'm no one. What is my legacy if I'm not a mom? Nothing. I don't have one. These and other thoughts are things that I poisoned myself with and really truly believed. I really got to this place where this is it. This is the end. My life has no meaning if I can't be like everybody else, if I can't have a kid. Staying with me because my body won't allow me to. I know there are other avenues for having children. We're not talking about that right now. But it's only the end when you give up. And I know that that may seem like such a duh moment, but when you're in the middle of a shock, like literally shock, where you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I don't see me. I'm not here. I can't see me right now. And whoever I see, I don't fucking like them too much. Like, that's your truth. That's real shit. When you get to the point where you're like, I actually don't like me. I'm not even my own friend. That's when you're giving up. So point number 1 is your life is not over when you have a hard time. And there is no amount, there's no time clock that says, oh, it's time for you to get over that. It's time right now. No, that's not the case. It's over when you decide that you're not worth it. It's over when you decide to give up. I had this thing. So if you're wondering, like, what was it? Why? How did she know she didn't want to give up? I had this thing inside me, which take this as you will, that was like, you're kind of a badass. I had this thing. I don't know what it is. It was just like, you're kind of a badass. Why are you not being a badass? Like, this little thing over here says you're a badass. This little thing over here says you're totally a loser because you can't have kids. I really like this one more because it made me feel better. So I started to think, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. I'm wallowing in the self-pity, and that's my issue. So the part of me that was like, I want to be a badass, I really aspire for that, taught me that I didn't want to give up. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, if you give up, if you listen to this guy over here, this little devil that's saying, you're nothing if you can't have children. You're nothing if you're not the type of person that has a kid. You're nothing if you're not a mother. If you are in that place, you're listening to this devil over here that's telling you that, then if you give up, do not expect the world to come to save you. It's not happening. It is not happening. Oftentimes in situations when we go through a shock, we close off. Like, no enter, you can't talk to me, I don't want to hear anything, I'm not receiving you. And in that place, we close ourselves off from sharing what we're going through, so it becomes incredibly difficult for people to understand. If you're not telling someone, I feel like shit, I feel like I'm the most unhappy I've ever been in my whole life, or here's what's going on with me, you can't be open to also have that two-way communication of, you're not a complete waste of life, you're not a piece of shit, you are deserving of happiness. Not saying that you need that, you're not saying that you need that validation because you're already worth it, but if you don't open up to people, you're not gonna have a two-way street for anybody to get into those embedded negative thoughts. So number 2 is, if you come to the place where you decide, you have to decide. It's not a decision that happens for you, where you're like, oh, see, that person told me I have to give up now. I'm leaving, see you, bye. No, it doesn't occur that way. You decide, I'm done, I'm giving up. That's all on you. So when you decide that, do not expect anybody to come for you and save you. And even if they do, when you are in such a state of shock, and you're in such a terrible, depressive state, even if they do, they can't reach you. They can't reach you unless you're willing. That's huge. So number 1 and number 2 go together because you must be willing to save yourself to get out of this shit. You have to, you really do. Not to make it so serious, but it is. It's your life. You have to be willing to decide, I am fucking worth it. I'm worth it. And to anybody that may be putting this other thought process into your mind that's like, no, you're not, or you need to be these certain things, fuck them, they're not your friends. Fuck them, they don't care about you. People are probably gonna say, oh my gosh, that's way too aggressive. It's true. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to know your self-worth, because even if you have somebody coming to you saying, dime to a dollar, you're worth this amount, you're worth it, you're perfect, you're wonderful, if you are not ready to receive it here, you will not receive it anywhere around here. 2. 3 is saving yourself is recognizing your problem. Saving yourself is stopping the blame. Saving yourself means you must arrive at your own solution. So 3 is you are the only person that can solve this for you. So again, 1 and 2 go together, 3 goes with all of them, because 3 is all about you, my friend. And when you're going through a situation that is intense and it just feels like somebody's repetitively punching you in the gut every day or pushing you down on the ground and it takes the wind out of you, it requires that you take a long, hard look at yourself and you figure out what the problem is. If it doesn't have a what, it doesn't have an answer. And that's the best way I know how to explain it. When I got into really realizing that I was missing my life, because basically that's what was happening. I was missing my life. I was going to Disney World and being like, yeah, Mickey, whatever, Mickey, you're so full of shit. Like, whatever, Tinkerbell, you don't have like pixie dust, like you're not real. Like, look, that's my Tinker right there. All my Tink shit back here. That's who I am. That's my mojo. I love Disney. I love all the magical things and fantasy and fairy tales and all that shit, but I lost it. I lost it because I got to this place where I was like, I refuse to acknowledge this problem. I refuse that this is happening to me. And I refuse that this is what I'm summed up to be. I'm summed up to be this barren, motherless person. And I did that to myself. That is so huge. When you get to this place where you ignore the problem, you start blaming everything else, like, I'm not a mother, blame. I will be barren, blame. Why is this happening to me? Blame. You're not focusing on understanding what the problem is, and if you don't know the what of the problem, you won't know the answer of the solution. So the huge, life-altering, I lost my shit, 3 very mucho important tips that I can hopefully share with you today is, number 1, your life is not over when you go through something hard. It's over when you give up. It's over when you say, that's it. I can't do it. I'm too tired. And I did this. I did that too. I am not preaching because I was there. I did it. I gave up on myself and I fucking hate that. But 4 years later, I got to this realization that it was like, I did that. And I can't expect anybody else to save me. If I don't give a shit about me, I can't expect anybody else to come and save me. So number 2 is just that. If you give up on yourself, nobody's going to be able to come and save you, because the minute you give up on yourself, you're not receptive to that help. You're not even going to be willing to hear people at that point. So you need to be open to realizing your self-worth to be able to get over it, to be able to realize what the problem is, which is number 3, which is to save yourself. You need to understand what the issue is. You need to find the what to find the solution. If you don't know what the what of the problem is, you don't know what the answer of the solution is. So hopefully these tips are really helpful, and I want very much to be able to talk frank and be open and have a dialogue about infertility and issues relating to that. And that involves endometriosis, PCOS, premenopausal conditions, low sperm motility. It's important. And there's a lot of people out there who are going through this and aren't talking about it, and they're suffering in silence. And to me, it's not to minimize it in saying this, but It's just like any other depressive issue, in that if we don't truly get to the heart of the problem and go through our stages of grief and our understanding of what exactly is driving us to stay in that deep dark hole and to continue to lose your shit every single day, you're living Groundhog Day, man. If you do not sit back and own your responsibility to your depression and to this issue, you will continue to lose your shit every day. And I know, because I did it. I don't want you to do it, and you don't have to do it. So this is from my heart to your heart, and anybody watching this and knowing that I'm a tough love kind of girl. I went through it. It was tough for me to come out of it. And I think that even if you're not a tough love kind of person, you can come out of this. And I hope that you know that my heart is already with you. It's already with you. And I'm going to say this because I mean it. I already love you. I really do. And thank you for watching. So hopefully if you have any questions or comments or want to hear anything about this, I am going to continue to talk about this. If you don't want to hear about sperm and penises and vaginas and sex and endometriosis and whatever that is involved with all of those issues, then don't sign on. But I hope that you do. And if you have any questions and have any comments, I'd love to hear them. I'm an open book. So be easy. Like, not like easy like slutty, but just like easy, like be easy and chill and relax. And again, like I said, if you're going through this, my heart is already with you. This is my first step on sharing my journey, and I have so much more that I want to share with you, and I hope to hear from you. I already love you. Have a great day. Have a great week. Be easy, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.